Evan Hale wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished tightening the last panel on the damaged cargo shuttle. The Frontier station was quiet tonight, almost eerily so. Most of the workers had left for their quarters, leaving only the hum of life support and the occasional clank of machinery to echo through the empty hangar. For Evan, nights like this were normal. He liked the quiet. It allowed him to think, to fix things, and to avoid the endless politics that came with working for a station controlled by mercenary companies. Life here was simple, predictable, and safe. Or so he thought. That predictability shattered when a soft, urgent signal appeared on his monitor. It was weak and fragmented, almost swallowed by the static of the communication waves, but the word repeated itself clearly. "Help, help, help." Evan frowned. The signal was coming from the wastelands outside the station. Most people would have ignored it. Distress calls here were usually hoaxes, traps, or mistakes, but something in the tone tugged at him. Without thinking, he grabbed his toolkit, his plasma flashlight, and a sturdy pack filled with essentials. He stepped into the chill of the wastelands. The wind cut against his skin, carrying with it a sharp scent of burned metal and dust. He scanned the area with his flashlight, moving carefully among the jagged rocks and ruined outposts. The signal pulsed again, weaker now, almost fading into the night. His pulse quickened, but so did his resolve. After a few tense minutes, he saw it. A small crash site. The wreckage of a sleek silver pod lay half buried in the sand. Sparks flickered from the damaged engines, casting brief shadows over the barren landscape, and there, slumped against the twisted metal, was her. The alien woman. She was small, delicate, and unlike anything Evan had ever seen. Her skin shimmered silver in the dim light. Her eyes glowed faintly with a soft blue hue, and her limbs were long and graceful. Despite the ethereal beauty, she was injured. One arm hung at an awkward angle, and a thin trail of blood ran from the corner of her mouth. Her breathing was shallow, her chest rising and falling with effort. "Hey," Evan said softly, crouching beside her. "Can you hear me? I'm going to help you." Her eyes flickered open, wide and terrified. She tried to speak, but only a weak gurgle came out. Evan knew he had to act fast. Using his pack, he cleaned her wounds as best as he could, fashioned a temporary splint for her arm, and wrapped her in a thermal blanket. She shivered violently, not from the cold alone. "You're human?" she whispered finally, her voice soft, foreign, and slightly musical. "Yes," he replied. "My name is Evan. You're safe now. We need to get out of here before anyone finds us." She gave a faint nod, barely able to lift herself. Evan carefully lifted her into his arms. Her weight was light, but there was a fragility to her that made him tense. Every step was cautious, each movement deliberate. As they moved toward the hidden tunnels beneath the station, Evan's mind raced with questions. Who was she? Why was she out here alone? And why did it feel like the universe had suddenly shifted around him? The tunnels were dark, damp, and maze-like, but Evan knew them well. He guided her through twists and turns until they reached a small maintenance chamber he had once used as a storage room. It wasn't much, but it would keep them hidden for a while. He laid her gently on a cot he had dragged from the storage area, adjusting her blanket around her. "Rest here," he said. "I'll keep watch." She watched him, her glowing eyes studying his every movement. There was something in her gaze, a mix of fear, gratitude, and something else he couldn't place. Evan didn't ask questions. He simply tended to her, keeping a quiet vigil as the night stretched on. Hours passed. The wind outside picked up, howling through the cracks of the tunnels. Occasionally, distant footsteps echoed, faint but purposeful. Someone was searching. Evan's grip on his flashlight tightened. Whoever they weren't looking for an accident or a random traveler. They were hunting something. Or someone. The alien woman stirred, murmuring something in her melodic language. Evan leaned closer. "I don't understand," he admitted, "but I'll figure it out. You're safe here." For a moment, she just looked at him, and he could see a flicker of emotion she couldn't, or wouldn't, put into words. Then she did something unexpected. She reached into a small pouch at her waist, pulling out a device. It was unlike anything Evan had seen. Sleek, silver, with symbols that glowed faintly. She fiddled with it, almost accidentally activating it, and the device pulsed with a soft blue light. Evan's eyes widened. "What is that?" he asked. It's nothing," she said quickly, a hint of panic in her voice. "Just a tool." Evan frowned. "It's not like anything I've seen before. That's powerful tech." She froze, realizing she had revealed more than she intended. I shouldn't have shown you that," she whispered. Evan shrugged. "I don't care what you are. Right now you're hurt, and I'm the only one who can help you." Her glowing eyes softened, and she allowed herself to relax slightly. For the first time, she seemed to trust him, and that trust was dangerous. Not for Evan, but for her. Later, as they rested in the hidden chamber, the faint sound of engines approached outside. Evan's heart sank. Whoever had attacked her, or whoever wanted her, was here. He peered through a small ventilation shaft and saw the outline of a massive ship hovering above the station. Its lights swept across the wastelands, scanning. "They're not leaving," he muttered. The woman's hand brushed his arm lightly, and he flinched, startled by the touch. Her voice was barely audible. "Evan, I didn't tell you everything." He turned to her, puzzled. "What do you mean?" She looked away, her glowing eyes dimming slightly. "I am more than I appear. They are looking for me because of who I am. Not because of this pod, but because of me." Evan's mind raced. More than she appeared? What could she possibly be? He had seen a lot in the frontier, but nothing like her. "Who are you?" he asked, keeping his voice low. Her gaze met his again, filled with an intensity that made him catch his breath. "I cannot. Not yet. But you need to trust me. They are dangerous, and you've already risked too much to help me." Evan didn't hesitate. He had made his choice the moment he picked up her signal. "I trust you," he said simply. "We'll get through this." The hours that followed were tense. Evan set traps in the tunnels, rerouted power to mislead scanners, and barricaded entrances with whatever he could find. He had never fought before, at least not in the conventional sense, but his mind worked like a machine, solving problems as they came. The alien woman stayed by his side, her presence quiet but comforting. He could see the fear in her eyes each time the ship's searchlight swept the ground above them, but he also saw something else, a spark of hope. At one point, she whispered again, almost to herself, "No one has ever helped me like this. No one." Evan shook his head. "You're safe now. That's all that matters." Despite the danger, despite the unknowns, he couldn't help but feel a strange sense of purpose. His life had been quiet, predictable, and safe, but suddenly, it mattered in a way it never had before. He was no longer just an engineer in a remote station. He was a protector, a guardian, the only person between this alien woman and those who would harm her. As dawn approached, the search ship finally retreated temporarily, leaving the wastelands quiet once more. Evan and the woman took a moment to breathe. She studied him carefully, as if trying to memorize him, to understand him. Her voice was soft when she finally spoke. "You do not know who I am, but you have saved me anyway. Humans, you are different from what I expected." Evan smiled faintly, brushing a hand through his hair. "I didn't save you because of who you are. I saved you because it was the right thing to do, that's all." She looked at him. her glowing eyes reflecting a mixture of admiration and something deeper he couldn't name. "You are extraordinary," she said simply. For Evan, the words felt almost absurd. He was just a man who had followed a distress signal. He had no idea that these simple actions would change everything: his life, hers, and perhaps the course of events across the galaxy. As the first rays of sunlight began to filter through the cracks in the tunnels, she finally spoke again, her voice trembling slightly. "Evan, soon they will return. And when they do, it will not just be a simple rescue anymore." Evan's jaw tightened. "Then we'll be ready. Whatever comes, we face it together." She nodded, her hand brushing his shoulder briefly before she closed her eyes, resting. Evan kept watch, his mind alert, his resolve steady. He did not yet know the full truth of who she was, or the vast wealth, power, and enemies she carried with her, but he did know one thing: he would not let anything happen to her. Not now, not ever. Outside, the winds of the wastelands roared, carrying the distant hum of engines, the promise of danger, and the whisper of an extraordinary future neither of them could yet imagine. And in that quiet chamber, hidden beneath the frontier station, a human and an alien shared a moment of fragile peace. A peace that would not last long, but would mark the beginning of something far greater than either could imagine. The day had barely begun when the warning lights on the station flickered once more. Evan had spent the night beside the alien woman, tending to her injuries and keeping watch. She had slept fitfully, and every so often, her glowing eyes would open in fear, scanning the shadows. He had grown protective of her, not fully understanding why, but knowing that he could not allow harm to come to her. "You need to rest," he said gently. "I'll handle whatever comes." She shook her head faintly, her delicate features tense. "You don't understand, Evan. If they find me, it will not just be a chase. It will be war." Evan frowned. "War? What are they after you for?" She hesitated. Her silver skin seemed to shimmer slightly under the dim light of the chamber. "My name is Sarastra Velan. I am the richest being in the galaxy. Everything you see, the trade routes, the wealth of planets, it all belongs to me. Or it will, once I take my rightful place." Evan blinked. The words didn't fully register at first. "The richest in the galaxy? You're saying you're, what, a queen? An empress?" "Not yet," she admitted. "I am an heir. But my enemies want me dead or used. They will not stop until they have me under their control." Evan stared at her. He had saved someone from a crash, someone injured and vulnerable. He had no idea that she was worth more than entire systems. For a moment, he felt absurd. How could someone so small and fragile be so powerful? I don't know what to say," he murmured. "You don't need to say anything," she replied softly. "I only need you to survive with me. They cannot know that you are helping me." He nodded. "Then we leave, now. I have a ship, just big enough for us to escape. Follow me." Evan led her back through the tunnels, using the same hidden paths he had discovered over years of working at the station. Outside, the wastelands glimmered under the rising sun. The wreckage of her pod still smoldered in the sand, but the massive ship that had been searching for her the previous night was gone. For now. "Evan, the ships are fast," she warned. "Even your skills may not be enough. You must understand. They will come back, and they will bring more than just soldiers." "I understand," he said, determination hardening his voice. "But I've gotten this far, haven't I?" Sarastra allowed a small smile to touch her lips. There was trust in her eyes now, and perhaps a hint of something else, a relief that fate had placed her in the hands of someone unexpectedly brave. They reached the cargo ship Evan had salvaged months earlier. It was small and battered, a vessel meant for short hauls, not long-distance travel. Yet he had rebuilt it carefully, installing new engines, reinforced shielding, and a navigation system patched together from scraps. To most, it was unremarkable, but in his hands, it was a lifeline. "Can you pilot this?" she asked quietly, noting the way he examined every panel and lever with practiced skill. "I built it," he said simply. "I can fly it better than anyone else on this station." She nodded, resting against the railing of the cargo bay as he started the engines. The hum of the ship filled the air, vibrating through the metal floor. Outside, the wasteland stretched endlessly, empty and dangerous. Evan guided the ship up into the sky, avoiding patrols and scanning for signs of pursuit. As they lifted into orbit, the hidden truth of her status became more apparent. Sarastra gestured to a small, advanced device she had kept hidden on her person. With a few taps, it projected a holographic map of star systems, trade routes, and fleets, an entire network of wealth and power stretching across the galaxy. "You control all of this?" Evan asked, awe in his voice. "Yes," she said, her voice steady but quiet. "And I will control more, but first I must survive. And thanks to you, I may have a chance." Evan felt a strange mixture of fear and pride. He had rescued someone, yes, but the weight of what she carried was staggering. These were not mere enemies. They were entire organizations, armies that could crush planets if they wanted. And yet, she had trusted him. Somehow, he felt that trust was enough to give him courage. "Then let's keep moving," he said. "We'll get somewhere safe. Then you can tell me everything." The journey was tense. They navigated through asteroid fields, dodged patrols, and used every trick Evan knew to remain undetected. All the while, Sarastra observed him quietly, occasionally offering guidance based on her knowledge of galactic politics and enemy tactics. Together, they made an unlikely but effective team, human ingenuity meeting alien intelligence. As the sun dipped below the horizon of a distant planet, they approached a hidden station she had secured for herself. It was a neutral zone, small and discreet, but heavily shielded. Here, they could rest, plan, and prepare for the inevitable confrontation with those who sought to capture her. Evan guided the ship into a docking bay, and the doors closed behind them with a soft hiss. For the first time in hours, both allowed themselves a moment of relief. "You did well," she said, her voice soft. "I underestimated humans. I thought you would be like the others, interested only in profit or survival. But you care." Evan shrugged, not used to praise. "I don't need reward," he said. I couldn't leave you out there." Sarastra's eyes softened, glowing faintly in the dim light of the bay. "Your courage is rare, and it may be the one thing that saves me in the days to come." They settled in for the night, and Evan allowed himself to finally sit and relax. But peace was fleeting. As he closed his eyes, he felt a subtle vibration in the room, a warning from Sarastra's sensors. Someone was approaching, undetected, through the outer perimeter of the station. He leapt to his feet, grabbing a tool that could double as a weapon. Sarastra's voice was calm, almost resigned. "They know where we are. They never forget." The first wave of attackers arrived silently, sleek ships designed for precision strikes. Evan activated the station's emergency defenses, rerouting power to defensive turrets, sealing doors, and setting traps. Sarastra assisted, using her knowledge of technology far beyond human capability to guide him. Together, they turned the station into a labyrinth of dangers for their enemies. The battle was tense, nerve-wracking, and exhausting. Evan's heart pounded as he moved through corridors, narrowly avoiding ambushes, disabling enemy drones, and ensuring Sarastra remained safe. Each encounter was a test of skill, patience, and trust. And with every obstacle they overcame, the bond between them strengthened. After hours of careful maneuvering and near misses, the attackers finally retreated. Unable to overcome the combined efforts of human ingenuity and alien intelligence. The station was damaged, but intact, and the immediate threat had passed. Evan leaned against a wall, breathing heavily, and Sarastra approached him, her expression unreadable. "You did not have to do all this," she said quietly. "You could have run. You could have saved yourself." "I didn't," he replied simply, "because I couldn't leave you behind." Her glowing eyes softened. "Then you have earned my trust, Evan Hale. And not just my trust, but something far more." Evan looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" She gestured toward the holographic map of her empire, flickering in the corner of the room. "Everything you see here, everything I control, I will share with you. You will not serve me. You will stand beside me, as my protector, my ally, and perhaps my friend." Evan's mind reeled. Wealth beyond imagining, fleets, entire systems offered to him. And yet it was not the reward he had sought. It was the acknowledgement that he had done the right thing, that his courage mattered. I don't know what to say," he admitted. "Then say nothing," she replied. "Simply continue as you have. Protect me, and I will show you a universe you could never have dreamed of." And so, for the first time in his life, Evan Hale stepped into a new reality. One where danger and adventure were constant, where the galaxy itself seemed to shift beneath his feet, and where a bond forged in courage and trust could defy even the vastness of space. As they prepared for the journey ahead, Sarastra turned to him, a faint smile on her lips. "Together we will face whatever comes. And the galaxy will learn your name, Evan Hale, as the human who dared to save the richest being alive." Evan felt a thrill of excitement, fear, and determination. He had no idea what challenges awaited them, no idea what enemies they would face. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He would not let anything harm Sarastra Velan. Not now, not ever. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, full of mystery, danger, and promise. Within the confines of the station, a human and an alien prepared for the life-changing adventure that awaited them. One simple act of courage had set the course of their lives forever, and neither of them would ever be the same again. The galaxy was vast, and it was waiting.